Hey, YouTube world. And guess what? Today, I want to talk about the good old days and the good old TV shows. Now, I'm going to kind of reveal my age. Not that I haven't revealed it before, because, I'm old and don't care. I have been watching for the last few hours now, actually, I guess about a day and a half, the old original Bewitched shows, if anyone remembers those. Because I found this app that I downloaded to my TV called Crackle. And they have the old TV shows from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Now, guys, I don't remember our shows or our commercials being nearly as dumbed down and stupid as they are for today's generation. And I was just telling my husband that the other day. Now, they didn't do things and then tell us, don't try this at home. Duh. We had enough sense to not try that shit at home. But then we weren't eating on Tide Pods or licking the ice cream at the store and putting it back on the shelf. Because we just had much more sense than that. And the stupid shit that we did do, we didn't film it and put it out there for the rest of the world to see. And now, we didn't have internet for our generation, but we didn't Polaroid that shit either and stick it around the school for the world to see. Now, if you're anything like I am, when I was a kid, now I'm going to take y'all down memory lane here, because I was into the Munsters, I was into the Twilight Zone. I remember absolutely loving Punky Brewster, and apparently I'm not the only one, because if you've ever seen Criminal Minds, then you'll know Garcia. I think she was a Punky Brewster fan too, and I love the way she dresses, and sometimes I go out there on a limb myself too. I mean, I don't know if y'all have seen my crazy hat days, and I wear crazy things, and I'm an arts and craft person. Speaking of which, check out my arts and craft channels, because you'll see some of the crazy self-expression things that I do with arts and crafts that, are a little bit out there, and some aren't, but, not to mention, if you've seen my other videos, I like playing with baby dolls. That's right, at my age. Do I care if you like it or not? Not really. But anyways, guys, I remember shows like Happy Days and Cheers. Now, I wasn't really into either one of those. I did like The Greatest American Hero. I was totally into Twilight Zone. I was totally into The Creep Show, if anybody remembers that. The Creep Keeper and all that. I think they have a whole comic book out about that one. I liked different shows of that era. And our commercials were not nearly as dumbed down as they are today, because today's generation, you can't ask them how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll Pop, because God forbid they choke on it. And not only that, you want to make sure you have a token in every commercial. So, and then at the end of that show, you got to tell, about how you can't do this at home. And God knows some idiot's going to take that as a racial comment when I say token. But let me tell you something. I don't just mean race. I mean sex. I mean, we've all got to be politically correct today, And that's another thing that I miss about the good old days, because nobody was worried about being politically correct. We all just stood up for what we believed in. And let me tell you something. I don't give a shit if you're transgender. I don't give a shit if you're black, white, Chinese, Mexican. I don't give a shit. Matter of fact, my family is the fucking melting pot of races. I mean, we've got a little bit of everything going on in our bloodline, from black, white, Chinese, Korean, Mexican, Native American. It's all in there. It's all in my blood. So, you call me whatever the hell you want. I don't give a shit because, it's all in there. I've got 2 daughters who look very biracial because their fathers are black. And then I've got 2 sons who look very much white because their father is white. And then you've got me in the middle as their mother, who is albino because my father was black and my mother was white. So feel free to call me whatever the hell you want. I don't give a shit because you know what? In the good old days, and that's what I'm talking about, commercials were not politically correct, and we didn't have to worry about shows being politically correct. And I tell you what, I saw the other day the Roseanne show, the original show, when Darlene and DJ and Becky were probably around. I would say DJ was probably about 3 or 4. And Darlene was probably about 8 or 9, and Becky was probably about 11 or 12. And that was on Crackle too. The original show was awesome. I loved it. And right now I'm looking at the original Bewitched, and when this is done, I have no idea what I'm going to look at, because you know what? The original shows were awesome, and not just because they were white or because they were black, but because they were untainted with stupidity of we must be politically correct, and without biased of, oh my god, people have to relate. I don't need to relate to your fantasy. Are we gonna do we're gonna do the black version of Bewitched because the black witches can't relate? Yeah, that was the whole freaking concept behind redoing Annie. That was the whole concept and behind redoing A Wrinkle in Time, is because little black kids can't relate. Well, fuck. I'm albino and I can't relate to, and I'm accepted by both worlds, the black and the white, because the white people, the old ass white people, look at me and they know I'm not white. And the older black people look at me and they know I'm one of theirs. So, I'm intertwined and I've been accepted. I've lived in predominantly black neighborhoods and had a good life. And I've lived in mixed neighborhoods where it's white, black, and Mexican, and I have a good life. I can't live in an all-white neighborhood because they treat me like shit. So I do understand the racial issues that different races go through. And it's sad because the younger black people look at me and think I don't have a clue. I have a fucking clue, guys, because I get treated the same way. But anyway, I just think and I think it's sad that we're redoing these shows because of, we're trying to be politically correct. It's absolutely crazy because nobody's saying we need to redo 227 or we need to redo A Different World or we need to redo The Cosby Show because, oh my God, or nobody's saying let's redo Sanford and Son because the fucking white community can't relate. How many white community people do you know where the mother is a lawyer and a professor at some school and the father is a doctor? How many white people do you know? But yet here we have The Cosby Show where that is the concept on this all black show. And nobody's bitching about that, nobody's bitching about that. Here's the thing. Black people want to look at us as if we're doing something wrong because of history. Well, let me tell you something. We're not going to hand you shit on a silver fucking platter and say, here, go do this. Because, no. Nothing was handed to any of us on a silver platter. Whether you're white or whether you're black or whether you're Mexican or, and it's funny because only the black people are bitching about this shit. And I'm sure I'm going to get some flack for this, and I don't give a fuck. Because that's just, I don't see my Mexican neighbors bitching. I don't see, the Korean or the Chinese or them bitching about, oh my God, I didn't get my chance. Man, look, you want a fucking chance, go make your fucking chance. I don't care what color you are, just go make your fucking chance and stop blaming the rest of the world, because you didn't get an education or because you didn't get this or you didn't get that. In today's society, unlike in the good old days, we didn't have the opportunity to get online and have these things at our fingertips. All we had was the library and the Dewey Decimal System, which I'm sure none of today's generation even knows what that is, So, I did take this video in a little bit different direction than I originally was going to, but the truth of the matter is it still revolves around the good old days, because let me tell you something. In the good old days, we weren't forced as straight people or white people or any other people to accept the sin and the bullshit heaped upon us by today's bullshit generations. I'm sorry, I'm not putting on a vagina hat because you feel neglected or you feel like your rights have been trampled on. Let me tell you something. You so-called Christians, go read your damn Bible, because let me tell you, this bullshit that y'all are backing, supporting, embracing, and calling the new way, you're ignorant as fuck. That's right, I said it. You're ignorant as fuck, and I don't give a shit if you like me. I really don't care, because I miss the good old days when you could go be fucking gay, you could go be fucking transgender, you could go be all that shit, and I didn't have to see it on my TV. I mean, I'm gay as all get up, but you don't see me on your fucking TV unless you put this video on your TV. Again, missing the good old days, guys. But anyway, I'm going to wrap this up, because you know what? There's some idiot out there who's getting the wrong idea about what I'm saying, and trust me, I don't have anything against any of these people. I'm not here to bash on anyone. I don't use my platform to bash on anyone. If you're gay, if you're black, if you're white, if you're transgender, if you're whatever the hell it is you want to be, I don't give a shit. I embrace people. I like people. I think people are fine. As a whole, I think people can cause mass hysteria. I think as a whole, people can come together in groups and be quite ignorant. But I think a person can be understanding and kind and cruelty-free. My whole thing is that if I'm forced into seeing something, I'm gonna have an opinion on it. If I'm forced into being told that I'm wrong, I don't care. This platform is solely a digital footprint for my opinion, and I'm entitled to that opinion just like everyone else is when I put it out there. Because see, let me tell you, when you put your opinion out there, then people are going to judge you, and people are going to have their own opinion of your opinion and your opinion and their opinion, and you can keep going back and forth with each other's opinion. Let me tell you something. One person is just as good as the next. And I will tell you this. In the good old days that we've had, there's a lot of bullshit in our history of black people being treated unfairly. But if you check that history well enough, you'll see that white people were treated unfairly as well. Especially poor, homeless, those that didn't have money. You see that show, The Have and Have-Nots? Well, there were white people that had not, and they were treated and sold into slavery just as much. But it's usually the squeaky wheel that will get the most attention, and black people in the last few decades have decided to be the squeaky wheel and speak the loudest. But here's what I don't get. Black people will say Black Lives Matter, and that's quite ignorant, because why don't all lives matter? Why don't the Mexican lives matter? Why don't the Chinese, Korean, Jewish, Hebrew, why don't the Native Americans? Why is it Black Lives Matter and nobody else is screaming, their lives matter too? Maybe it's because they're too busy out there trying to not blame the world for their downfalls. Maybe they're too busy trying to get educated and help their community and rise above. I'm sure there will be some hateful ass comment. I'm sure there'll be some stupid whatever, and I really don't care. I'm entitled to my opinion. I'm entitled to put it out there, and I don't condone stupidity. I don't condone transgender children. I don't condone biracial children. I don't condone gender neutral children. I think I saw a video the other day when a fucking 3-year-old was identifying as an omelet. So, that just goes to show how their mind works. But hey, anyway, the good old days were the good old days, and they were the good old days for a reason, because you could do and be whoever the hell you wanted, and it wasn't forced upon the rest of us. Because, like I said, again, you could call me what you want, and I don't care what you are. I don't have to embrace your bullshit. Now, you as a human being, I will embrace you and love you as a human being all day long. And I don't care what race you are, and I don't care what sexual, gender, or fucking donkey, whatever you identify as. I don't have to condone what you do, but I will love you as a person. Again, like I said, in my family, we have all the races. So I'm not prejudiced against any one race. I believe any person can be or become anything they so choose. And I do understand back in the old days, which is before me, that there was a lot of prejudice, and that the black people and whatever couldn't go to school, couldn't learn to read and all that shit. But I also understand that that was an error before me, and I believe that was an error before my grandparents. So we're talking generations ago, and so much has changed, and so much is changing. And at the same time, so much of the change is bullshit. So much of the change is, literal bullshit. We're not fighting for the rights of human beings. We're fighting for the rights of stupidity. It'd be different if we were fighting for the rights of people being able to be accepted because they're black, or people just being able to be accepted because they're Mexican. But no, you want me to accept the fact that your 2-year-old son is a girl. No, he's not. Okay? And you want your 2-year-old son to be able to go into the bathroom with my 2-year-old daughter, and I just don't find that appropriate. I don't find it appropriate, and I don't have to. And I don't have to allow it. I don't have to embrace. Now, I love your child. I don't have a problem with your child. But I'm not going to embrace the stupidity that you, as a parent, are heaping upon this child. Sorry. But anyways, that was the good old days when we didn't have to. So anyways, guys, if you choose to look me up on the web, I am doing arts and projects that are gender neutral, because all genders and sexes and races can enjoy my art projects, because none of it is specific. So, look me up and, have a good rest of the week. And guys, every now and then think about the good old days, because there are the original shows out there, like I said, on Crackle. They are, I'm watching Bewitched right now. I watched the original Roseanne, but they also do have the original Sanford and Son, the original 227, the original Cosby Show, along with, I saw the original Cheers. I believe I saw Silver Spoons, if anybody remembers that one. And I believe I saw a Different Strokes. So it's called Crackle. And if you want to download that, it's a free app. And I don't believe that you have to, there's any in-app purchases. But there are commercials in the shows. So that is why it's free. Because you're watching the commercials as well. But it's free. And cable shows, you have to watch commercials and you pay for that. So it's just a thought. Anyways, I'm going to wrap this one up with a happy Sunday, guys, and have a great week.